students. This is a short overview of the Managed Incident Lightweight Exchange Working Group in the IETF. We're going to talk a little bit about the overview and scope of work, including charter and current documents, and I'll talk a little bit about the data formats and transport, and most importantly, we'll review how you can help. We do need the input of end users to understand your use cases, developers to make sure that our specifications are clear enough for your implementations to enable interoperability. This presentation is also applicable to implementers so that they can understand some of the work happening, and vendors who may implement or develop. MILE is working to solve the problem of interoperable exchanges for incident and indicator sharing. Essentially, we'd like to make sure that when one party packages up information about an incident and it's sent across the wire, the other receiving entity interprets it exactly the same way. This is an important problem to be solved to enable automation. And so we are focused on both data formats and transport to enable this. Now, the scope of work for data formats includes cyber intelligence analysis, cyber incident reporting, cyber event mitigation, and cyber information sharing. We'll be discussing these aspects in scope as well as updates to the basic data model on the mailing list over the next 2 months. The mile@ietf.org mailing list is where the discussions will take place, and we'll be tracking issues on the data tracker with the link provided in this presentation. The goal for this specific work on the common data format, which is called the Incident Object Description Exchange Format, otherwise referred to as IODEF, is to publish version 2 of the document January 2014. This is coming quickly, so your participation to make sure that your use cases are met and issues are addressed is very important and appreciated. The charter for the MILE working group can be found at the link provided, and the current list of documents include RFC 5070 biz, the IODEF enumeration reference format, the Structured Cybersecurity Information Draft, IODEF guidance, and the RESTful Indicator Exchange using IODEF and RID. Other documents are welcome if you identify a use case that might not be met by the basic documents and covered in the charter. And so please reach out to the chairs, myself and Brian Trammell. We can help you with the process of submitting a draft or help get you up to speed in terms of how you can provide your feedback best to the working group. We would also like feedback on use cases for IODEF, and these will go into, in some cases, the IODEF guidance document. This is a new document being developed that is intended to document use case examples and then provide clear examples using the IODEF format for implementers and developers so that they can see how their use cases are met. The IODEF data model was first developed by international CSIRTs. As such, their use case was originally to support incident information. What this results in is that the indicator information within IODEF is context-rich. It has the capability to represent full incident information, or it could just reference a set of indicators that might have been involved in an incident or multiple incidents, or even watch list use case. And those watch lists now, with our revisions covering commonly exchanged indicators, not only includes IP address, AS numbers, but also extends out to include registry key information, hashes of files, and other commonly exchanged data types from our discussions with CERTs at organizations and larger CSIRTs in terms of what they actually exchange on the wire. IODEF is highly flexible and extensible, and this is one of the aspects that's pretty common within IETF protocols. The base data model hits a smaller set of objectives and then allows for extension points so that you could add on other schemas, or you could create an extension specific to IODEF. I'll talk about the SCI draft in just a moment, where you're adding in specific schemas in a structured way. And we also have some open questions on forensic information. Is there a need for use cases relevant to you where additional forensic information would be helpful? We have the opportunity to cover this in a separate extension, but need to understand from the community if that's of interest and have your input to make sure that we cover what's needed for your use cases. The Structured Cybersecurity Information Draft, as I mentioned, provides a consistent method to include existing schemas. And what I mean by that might be something like MMDEF or OVAL or XCCDF or some other schema that's already defined, and it allows the format to place each of these in a very specific place to help developers so that we can have consistent programming and understand where these might be expected, or if a schema is inserted in a particular area like attack pattern or vulnerability, the meaning of it may differ. The enumeration reference format is intended to help further with automation. Although the reference format can be a little bit more open and include URLs and other such information, it provides a consistent format for things like CVE numbers. And this is really just to make sure that when it's packaged up from one entity, the receiving party knows how to parse and understand exactly what was intended by that reference information. Both of these drafts are near final and will get folded into the IODEF version 2 so that they're part of that base format. Now, a little bit on transport protocols. Currently, we have 2 different transport protocols. The ROLI draft that I've already mentioned provides a RESTful, object-oriented, lightweight indicator exchange model. You could think of this as a repository type access system. So let's say as a user you're participating in a sharing group that has a portal at the center. What ROLI does for you is it enables a consistent method to be able to pull down that indicator information in an automated way using the IODEF data format. So this would eliminate the need for PDF files to download and eliminate the need for cut and paste into your environment. One of the other advantages of this protocol method is that there is a low requirement for the end user. You only need a browser to access a RESTful interface. The other transport protocol is called RID, Real-Time Internetwork Defense, with the RFCs listed on the slide. This provides a peer-to-peer exchange model with high level of security options. It specifies both the communication flows that are possible as well as policy options that result in encryption and digital signature options at the object level to be automated. One important thing to remember about RFCs when you're reading an IETF RFC is that the musts within the document apply to the development. For instance, RID requires mutual authentication over the TLS session. So both parties have to be able to establish and identify each other for the communications to start. Now, this is for the developer. When this is deployed, and let's say you're a CCERT, you have the option to use that because it's been implemented, or if your use case doesn't require that higher level of security, you don't have to use the feature, but it's there for you in case it's required by your use case. RID also covers object security with consistent ways to do encryption and digital signatures to allow for things like multi-hop authentication. And this enables all of your various use cases, the sharing of watch lists. We do have examples in play right now by major groups that allow for anti-phishing to be addressed, DDoS, botnets, e-crime. How can I help? As I mentioned at the beginning of the presentation, the participation in the mailing list guides our work, and we are consensus driven. We would like to make sure as we revise these important documents that your use cases are met. You can attend meetings, and they're listed on the IETF website. We also make sure that we have remote access options for all of our MILE meetings in case you're not able to attend in person. And all decisions are finalized on the mailing list. So if you're not able to make a meeting, you can make sure that your voice is heard and your use cases are met by voicing your opinion on the mailing list. Please join and subscribe to the mailing list, and you might want to participate in an existing thread, start a new thread on a topic relevant to you, or propose new work, propose a new draft, and we're happy to help with that work. So both of the chairs are more than happy to help you get up to speed and understand how you can effectively participate within the MILE working group or in the IETF. There are a number of implementations, and they can be found at the link provided. And there's also several options for contributing to open source code. So we look forward to your participation in the working group. Thank you.